Hey guys, how is it going? I'm actually going to unbox this today. We have something special. It's a IKE figure and it's actually pretty nice. It comes in a giant box compared to all of the other figures, but you can see here it's going to look pretty awesome once I unbox it. So I'm going to switch to the first person view and kind of show you what that looks like. I'll take off this plastic paper here and show you kind of the box 360 just so you can get a feel of how awesome and gigantic this figurine is. Before we get started unboxing, I just want to emphasize the size of this box. It is gigantic. Compared to some of my larger figures that you see in the background here, this box is huge. Ike is firmly recessed in, and you want him to be, so that he survives the shipping process and nothing gets damaged. But the cool thing about this figure is it is an official intelligence system figure, and they have some cool graphics on the side. So first you have Ike kind of in his Radiant Dawn portrait here. You can tell it's Radiant Dawn because he has that giant shoulder pad and he's really buff. Ike does get a lot buffer from the time he first starts leading the Grill mercenaries until he fully embraces his role in the second game. On the back, you do see Ike posed in different ways. Of course, from the figure maker, they have nice backgrounds and stuff. And then once more, you actually see that same pose, but instead of the drawing, you actually see the figure itself. Now, for getting the box open, there's one plastic sticker right here. There's one over here. And then there's also one at the very back. So let me take those off and I'll pull the figure out and then we'll see what that looks like. Just a quick note, the way the box comes out is this whole thing comes out in full. It looks like the standee where Ike's gonna stand is gonna be there too, but you saw that all of the space in the front is there to really cushion him up. So now that we have the top view of the figure here, you can see it's held together by some poppies. That's what I'm going to call them anyways. So you just have to pop these pieces out of the plastic and they will pop out. Typically there's some tape along the side. So I'll be looking for that. Yep, there looks like one piece of tape right here. And there should be one on each corresponding side. There's none on top, but there is on the side a piece of tape. So I'll cut those out and then show you what it looks like. Turns out there were 3 pieces of tape on each of the sides, but I did manage to get them off. So the first thing here to reveal is when you open it, you do see kind of the sword here, Ragnall, but no hilt. It's very gigantic. In fact, it's basically the size from Ike's head to where his knees are. You do see Ike as well here, and you also have, this is kind of his bandana or like his hair tie. That's a separate piece that will go on. And then you have Ike himself. So Ike, of course, a lot of plastic, making sure he's safe there. But this is just one piece, which is awesome because you don't want this to be a lot of pieces. You can kind of see the details here of where Ike armor is, and even, you know, his leg guards are nice and glossy. So we're gonna assemble this together. So I'm going to take him out for now and put him to the side. And once I do that, there's still one more piece. This is where he's going to be standing. It just looks like some fancy rock and gravel, but there's that piece as well. What I do notice is there's another piece behind the second piece of plastic. So once I take that out, I think that's going to be his cape, but let me see what it is. Interesting thing about this is it actually opens from the back. So I had to flip this plastic piece upside down, and there's some tape right here that's going to need to be cut, and then probably all the way around. So let me do that. It does look like it is his cape. In fact, it is his cape and shoulder guard. And then there's like another piece of gravel. I'm not sure what that is, but what's crazy is even though I took this out of the plastic, this is also in another piece of plastic. So it's very secure. This whole unpacking here is very secure. There's tape all around. Let me take those off. I did manage to cut all the tape. And once I take off the piece of plastic, you do see kind of the cape and the shoulder guard here. It's actually pretty heavy. I would say this is spaced out, maybe kind of a light cell phone, but that's pretty heavy for a cape. So this figure better withstand the weight of the cape itself. Is pretty amazing. But then you also have a standee. So this is a clear plastic stand. Obviously, since I just said that the cape is heavy, it would make sense that there's some sort of prop on the inside to hold the cape up, and this is kind of their solution there. I do get another piece of gravel ground, I guess, and this is definitely for the standee. Starting with the stand, you're gonna see that there's two little indents here, I guess, and there should be two on the other side, and this is where Ike is actually going to stand. I do have Ike here. He's holding kind of the hilt for his alendite, but it's just him, and there should be two shoes here, and it should go just like that. So let me try to put this on, and then we'll move to the next step. All right, that actually looks pretty good. They do go on well. His little extra space here does hold it, but the indents actually don't go to the heel at all, which is something you see often. It actually goes in the front two of his shoes. Here it does go in the front and the back of the heel, but in the action pose, Ike is already looking pretty sick. I gotta say that this came off, and it's pretty scary looking, where it's just his head, but it was pretty tough to get off. It's like once you have it in, it's like in. So now we can put on the actual cape, and then what's gonna happen is the head is actually gonna slot in with the cape in between just to hold it in place. Here's the cape by itself, and it's actually pretty detailed. You can kind of see even on the inside when people don't really look, you can see the wear and tear, and that's kind of the appeal of Ike. He is the everyman lord of Fire Emblem. He's not nobility or anything, he's just a mercenary, yet he's still willing to fight for the people. So I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna try to put this on. Apparently, this goes over, and what it's gonna help is, you see this little slot here on the back of the figure itself. There's a little slot on top where you can slot in the cape. So you don't have to kind of guesswork, or some other figures you kind of have to move around, but this one should be able to go in quite easily. Kind of scary without the head, but the cape did slot right in. Now we just have to put the head in, and then we're gonna get a nice pose there. All coming together, and the head slots in perfectly. In fact, it does move the cape up a little, and that's what we want. Now the next step is to put in Ragnall, the blade anyway, since he's already holding the hilt, and that slots in rather easily as well. I want to show you this blade because Ragnall is a very kind of battle-worn sword, so you do see scratches from other sword hit it. In fact, if you pull Priam from Fire Emblem Awakening, he actually still uses this blade. He's one of Ike's descendant, and it is all rusted out. You can see that in Heroes, which is nice, but here it just slots in, it goes straight in. In fact, I'll show you from the other side. It is a straight in slot. Under here, I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me see if I can get a better camera angle. You see the shape is actually unique on Ragnall, so there is only one way you can put it in. Okay, my man is coming along. So the next step is we're gonna put in his headband. This one's rather easy. Let me take it out of the bag to show you guys. It does have kind of indentation here, and this one should just go right in the back of his head. There should be an indentation. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's right there where the headband is, and we can just plug this one right in. So the last part is the standee for the cape. Luckily, it is kind of a right triangle here, or enough of a right angle where you can see that just fits perfectly there. The plastic stand itself is just a plastic stand. I know that doesn't make any sense, but let me take it out and I'll show you. So it is just a prop stand that you put in here to hold up the cape. So once I put it in here, then I can hold up and prop the cape. So I'm behind the scenes here. You can actually see it fitting in, and it's holding up the cape. So underneath, it does kind of form like an umbrella shape or like a curve. So the figure looks fine. But now we have our complete Ike figure. and he's too big to put on my rotating stand, but I wanted to show you some neat details about this particular figure. So Ike, as you see him, he has a lot of details. We'll start with the headband. And the headband, you can kind of see patterns here, right? So there's patterns on this particular headband. Normally when they create a figure, they don't go to this detail, but it does have it. For Ike himself, you can see the armor pieces. So his shoulder guard, his bracers, his shin guards, they're kind of metallic. And then you see these leather pieces, or I think they're supposed to be kind of leather. This is supposed to be like mithril, but you can see here some of the other armor parts that he has are leather, and they kind of go for that texture for leather. There's actually different patterns on it, so you can actually see this is a belt, and they try to work hard towards it. This is another part of his belt as well. Even the inside of his bracers, where there's leather strings that are tying it up, you can see that. You can see the bandages on the arm wrap. So that's some incredible detail in this figure. You see the hand guards here. This is supposed to be silver. And then on the Ragnall itself, you can see the whole guard. You can see the shining emeralds it's supposed to represent. The blade itself is gold, and it does have scratches that we've seen earlier. What's neat is they're different from one side versus the other. So as I turn this around, I'm gonna see the different patterns here for Ike's sword. The back of Ike, they spare no expense. Not a lot of people are gonna look at the back, but you see the leather belt there. His kind of like waist guard that he's wearing. And then even in his pants, the fabric, you're not going to look behind a lot when you're looking at these figures, but you see there's actually folds in the pants, giving it kind of realistic fabric look. The boots here on the back, you do see the different belts, and they do look leather. So that's really, really awesome attention to detail. We talked about the cape before, but now that it's on Ike, you can kind of see it's weathered. And it gives that look that he's been in battle, and he's been wearing the same cape over and over again. So that's really neat. One of the things is a lot of capes in games are just capes, but it's actually practical. So you see that this top part of the cape, it can fold into a hoodie if needed, but if it rains or anything like that. Now, Ike's hair, they did go into detail. It does look very anime hair. It's kind of impossible to do in real life, but this is awesome, guys. I'm gonna enjoy this particular figure. It's gonna go next to the Lin figure, where Urza, Kenshin are standing right now. We'll make that kind of the awesome swordsman cube. But overall, compared to the box, this is a nice figure. It did cost a bit of money. I don't remember how much it cost. I believe this was a gift from my significant other. But either way, this is an awesome Ike figure. And I hope to get more Fire Emblem characters. I know I kind of missed the Tharja and the Cordelia figures at the beginning, but those seem so much smaller compared to how Ike is now. Alright guys, let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed that detailed unboxing, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye! Hey, since you're still here, look at this. Look at the size of this Ike figure next to this Lin figure, huh? Is that not crazy? If he were to stand full height, he's even kind of more recessed than she is, he would be gigantic.